This is the clerk with a courtesy announcement that we are now live on the meeting portal and YouTube.
Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful Thursday, and I'm calling to order the Housing, Land Use, Environment, and Transportation Committee. Today's May 18th. Your chair, and we have our vice chair here with us, Supervisor Simitian. So I'm going to call to order by asking Peggy to take roll.
Good morning, Vice Chairperson Semidian
Here.
and Chairperson Arenas.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right. So we're just skipping along, going to public comment. Next on the agenda is item 2, and this is where anyone can speak on any item that is not on today's agenda. So if you're in person, you'd like to share public comment, we ask you to submit a yellow card for public comment. And since this is also hybrid, if you are viewing us online, you can raise your virtual hand, please. And we'll start with the in-person. Peggy, do we have anybody here?
We have no speakers in chambers, and we have no virtual speakers either.
Well, this is just moving along great. All right, moving on to item 3, which is approving the consent calendar. Item 3 is currently on the consent calendar are items 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. I'd also like to put item 4, which is to receive the biannual report from the Santa Clara County Central Fire Protection District relating to employee demographics on consent. Unless my vice chair thinks otherwise. Do you have any changes?
Madam Chair, if that is your wish, I am happy to add item 4 to the consent calendar. I do have questions, but I can follow up and have been working closely with the Chief's office in Penley, so all good.
Okay, I'm more than happy to hear it.
And I would, well then, let's leave it on.
All right.
They're here, they're ready to go, and.
Let's do it.
But, and there is a little bit of history here, but I do think items 6 and 7 could also be added to the consent calendar if you're amenable, Madam Chair.
Ooh.
Item 6, of course, is the bridge replacement project.
Yeah, I'd like to keep 6 on, but 7, I'm fine with putting that on
All right,
consent.
thank
if
you.
you're okay.
Then I think we've wrestled it to the ground, and I will
Yes.
say move approval of the consent calendar as contained in our published agenda with the addition of item number 7 on consent.
And I'll second that. And Peggy?
Vice Chairperson Semidian
Aye.
and Chairperson Arenas.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Wonderful. Okay. So we will start with item number 4, which of course, Chief, you are already here and waiting for us. And so this is item on the County of Santa Clara's Central Fire Protection District. And go ahead. Welcome.
Good morning. Suwana Gergao, Fire Chief for Santa Clara County Fire Department. With me today is Veronica Nebula. She is the Business Services Office Director for the district as well. In front of you, Chairperson Arenas and Vice Chair Semidian is our demographics or semi-annual report back for our demographics as directed by the board, up to date as of the legislative filing. You can see that there's really not a lot of movement, although we have had significant additions in terms of the firefighter rank for the organizations, which is mirroring basically our demographics across the board. For the most part, there's a few little dip because we had a couple of females retire at the end of last year. But we are fully in the process of continuing to hire. We've had 14 individuals come on successfully from the last academy that started last year, our ALA, and we have 5 in a current academy as a joint fire academy with Sunnyvale. I'm here to answer any questions you may have regarding the information presented in front of you.
Thank you so much. We are going to first take any public comment. Peggy, do we have anybody online?
One moment. We have no speakers in chambers and no hands raised for this item in the Zoom room.
All right, so I'm going to move to my vice chair for comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This item, just to put it in the record, is with us because the civil grand jury raised concern a couple of years ago about the lack of gender diversity in the fire department and fire district. And the item was, there was as is the custom and practice, there was a response prepared, and it was on consent at a regular board meeting. And this was prior to your arrival in the role of chief, of course. And I asked that the item come off consent because I thought that the response candidly was a little rote and not all that responsive as responses go, and also because I wanted to highlight it, which is why, Madam Chair, I asked at the time that it come to this committee and why I appreciate the opportunity to just chat about it for a minute or two. I appreciate what the Chief said about the fact that, in a relatively small organization with relatively small numbers of women in the district already, even a couple of retirements are going to skew the numbers pretty quickly. That being said, there are some steps that have been taken and that are described here. And Chief, I don't think I would be either inaccurate or harsh if I said, this is slow going and sort of incremental. Is that kind of where we are?
The incremental part, in terms of any changes, still fundamentally rests with the interested workforce. And we did make changes to the way we hired or went through the eligibility, the folks who were eligible to apply for firefighter. So last year we interviewed close to 500 people for a very limited number of positions. That was very different than how we had done it in the past. And really gave the panel, the 4 panels that went through those interviews, an opportunity to see every single person who applied for county fire for those positions. That was a success from my perspective because although we don't typically see a lot of diversity in the paramedic rank, we got to see more diversity in the EMT rank than we may have seen in the past. So from the perspective that we have an idea committee that is out there doing outreach and education about what the job is and hitting local colleges and just being really visible to pique the interest for maybe a demographic that didn't think that this could be a career path for them, and that goes along with the girls' camp that we recently put on.
Well, thank you. Your comments anticipated and were responsive to the question I had about the restructured oral boards, which was something we had talked about, I think, at the last committee hearing, and that the written report did not tease out as much as I might have hoped. But I gathered that the short version is the restructured oral boards make a difference. Is that a fair conclusion to come to?
Restructured oral boards definitely give us a wider net to cast for folks who are interested, and doesn't unintentionally eliminate persons of diversity that was just haphazardly eliminated.
Got it. And then the fire camp, in your estimation, was a worthwhile and productive effort, yes?
It was very worthwhile. It was over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I was out there all day Saturday and for half the day Sunday. And the enthusiasm from not just the girls, the teenage girls from high schools from all over the Bay Area, but definitely in the South Bay, as well as the female leadership from all over the Bay Area. It was a very incredible sight to see, and I think very empowering for both the instructors and the students.
Good to hear. As you may or may not have known, I was scheduled to join you for a little bit of it, and ended up sick at home, which was a definite second prize because it sounded like that was a really exhilarating couple of days. What's your assessment of how we're doing on gender-separate facilities, which was something that was teased out in the civil grand jury report?
So we do have a facilities plan. So these are, it's a little bit complicated because we have district station facilities and contract station facilities. So on the district side, we are working to expedite some of the projects that were a little bit lower in the queue. We have one of our stations up next that really has the most challenge for any separation in terms of gender separation, gender neutral. And that hopefully will come to fruition sometime in terms of the planning stage in early 2024. Meanwhile, we keep working through other station facilities, ensuring that we have the budget for it and carving that piece off, and then working with our partner cities, our contract cities, and keeping that piece on the radar for them.
Thanks. Madam Chair, I would wrap up this way. Forgive me, Chief, I can't remember if I shared with you. Part of the reason this issue drew my attention when it came to the full board on consent, and part of the reason that you can perhaps hear a little frustration in my voice, is because I dealt with this issue 30 years ago, 30 years ago when I was a member of the Palo Alto City Council. And that fire department wasn't where it could have been, should have been, in my estimation, in terms of gender equity. And we made some immediate progress at the time, which was reassuring to me that if you make the effort, you can get the result. So you got to make the effort. That said, all these years later, when we got the civil grand jury report, the city of Palo Alto was the other department, or one of the other departments, along with our own county department, that was held up as an example of places where there was work that needed to be done. So, as I said, part of the reason that I pulled this off consent, whatever it's been now, a year and a half, 2 years ago, asked that it come to this committee, is so that your organization understands that it's a continuing priority and concern with the board. And that's why I want to say thank you again to the chair for allowing this bit of discussion just to highlight that fact. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, and I'm not sure what's happening with the mics. Is maybe somebody's mic on and
I
somebody's
don't,
thumping?
are you hearing crackling?
I'm hearing a thumping sound. Is it just me in my head? Okay, thank you. See, both Sylvias heard it. So,
Okay. Having this conversation will alert people in the sound room to see if they can identify it. We don't have any extra microphones on, so it's not that.
Thank you. And thank you, Supervisor Simitian. I had met with our chief previously, so I did get some of this feedback. And I know this is an issue for many cities, including the city of San Jose. We struggle with not only bringing females or different genders into a particularly dominated field like the fire department or the police department or the sheriff's department. I would like to see, as you have just discussed with us, you know, one of the ways that you are engaging young women, to see that throughout the whole year and not wait for an annual event. I'd love to see how you are engaging in conversations with different women and people so that we can bring folks on. And I know that there's different different ways to engage the different segments of our population. So, I mean, this was obviously something that's geared for high school students. You're putting in that investment in the long run, right? Hoping it'll render something. I think that there's also some value in doing some particular engagement with women or people who are of age and might be very close to or interested. And so I encourage to have you have a more aggressive effort. And I know that we can't change people's mind in terms of what career choice to have. But when there's women like you who can inspire And I don't know that there's any other city that we have a female chief for fire department. I know it's a huge big deal. So please use yourself as that North Star for a lot of our young women and people who are maybe just thinking about choosing this career, and you can kind of take them over the edge with some level of commitment, because if you were able to do it and you're able to hold this high position in the fire department, then they can certainly do that as well. So, and thank you for the report. I know that there's some work to do. I'd love to hear more detail the next time this is around on what you're working with the cities in terms of funding, and how you're ensuring the funding for some of that build out that is difficult to do in some of the facilities to have gender neutral spaces. Anyways, if we could have roll call, please.
We don't have a motion. This is to receive report, but if you
I
would
thought
like
we
to make a
did.
motion,
I'll move that we receive the report then to help facilitate the process.
Thank you. I'll second that.
Vice Chairperson Semidion,
Aye.
Chairperson Arenas.
Aye. Thank you so much, Chief.
Thank you for the supervisor's continued support. I appreciate your time.
All right, so we are going to move to our regular agenda, item number 5, which is supportive housing dashboard and veterans report. Welcome.
Good morning, Chairperson. I'm just going to share our presentation here. So thank you. I'm KJ Kaminsky, Deputy Director for the Office of Supportive Housing, and I'm joined by Hong Kao, our Program Manager overseeing our Continuum of Care programs. This is our monthly report for our supportive housing system progress, which includes our progress towards our goals on the community plan to end homelessness, as well as a report back on our system performance measures. Each month we have a special focus. This month we have a report back on our VETS housing programs. Hong's going to share our overall progress on the dashboard, and then I'll share a bit about some highlights on our VETS housing program progress. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairperson and Vice Chairperson. First slide, please, or next slide, please. Appendix A highlights the progress towards our community plan to end homelessness. Here's our Appendix A. Appendix A highlights the progress towards our community plan to end homelessness. As you can see, the chart on the left shows that we are at 54% of our goal to house 20,000 people by 2025. The chart on the right shows the inflow, or the number of people experiencing homelessness for the first time. And our goal is to reduce that inflow by 30%, and we are on track to meet that goal. Next slide, please. Appendix C highlights the system performance measures to assist us in understanding how our housing programs are doing. When services end in our system of care, where do our clients go after they exit the programs? And we want to highlight our rapid rehousing program, where you can see we are very close to meeting our benchmark of 80%, where 80% of people after they exit our rapid rehousing program exits to a permanent housing destination. Next slide, please. This slide highlights the system performance measures for our permanent supportive housing retention program. We look at the housing retention for people that are housed in our permanent supportive housing programs. And as you can see, the housing retention rate for clients in our permanent supportive housing program consistently exceed our system-wide benchmark, where we're currently at 96% for this past year. And this next graph highlights the system performance measures for people that return to homelessness. Here, the returns to homelessness is a way for us to understand the retention of permanent housing for households who exit a program to permanent supportive housing. And we look at whether clients remain housed at the end of the 6-month, 1-year, and 2-year time frame. We want to see fewer people returning to homelessness over the past, we are seeing fewer people returning to homelessness over the past 2 years. And so we are hopeful that we will continue to see this decrease in the number of households that return to homelessness. Next slide, please. And this chart is used to understand our trends across time. This highlights trends to help us better understand whether new housing initiatives or housing development help us in decreasing the inflow of homelessness. Our goal is to reverse the trend, which you can see the inflow is on the blue bar, and increase the trend of housing more people, which you can see is the green bar. And now I will turn it over to KJ to share highlights about our veterans housing programs.
Thank you. So I'm excited to share some progress on our veterans housing programs. These are reflective of a very close coordinated effort with our veterans partners, including the VA and several service providers. We meet regularly with the service providers and case conference for all veterans that are currently unhoused. So the first chart in the report is showing the total number of veterans that have been housed since the launch of the All the Way Home campaign. Since that launch in 2015, almost 2,600 veterans have been permanently housed. A majority of those are through a partnership with the Housing Authority and the VA in the VASH program. The significant number also supported with the Supportive Services for Veterans and Families, which is a rapid rehousing program, as well as our rapid rehousing program supported with Continuum of Care funds. These dedicated resources for veterans have been critical in reducing the total number of vets that are experiencing homelessness. So one of the, similar to the system-wide outcomes, we look at exits to permanent destinations for our subpopulations. So for veterans, this chart is showing the exits to permanent destination, permanent housing after leaving shelter, transitional housing, or rapid rehousing programs. And you can see that vets have a slightly higher exits to permanent destinations for rapid rehousing as well as transitional housing, with 75% of veterans exiting our rapid rehousing programs to permanent housing. And lastly, I want to share our overall inflow and placements for veterans. This is one population for which we consistently, over the last few years, have placed more folks into housing that are becoming homeless for the first time. And that is because of those dedicated resources that are set aside for this population. Over the last year, 264 veterans have been placed in housing, while only 127 vets sought housing assistance for the first time in our system. And with that, we will be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I'm going to ask Peggy if there's any online speakers.
We have no speakers in chambers or in the Zoom room.
Thank you. So I'm going to look to my vice chair to see if there's any questions.
No, thank you. I thought the report was very clear, very complete. These are issues we have discussed previously at the committee level and at the full board level. I appreciate the update, but I think it's all there. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a couple of questions. In February, when this report last came to Hewlett, I expressed a concern about the percentage of clients who were exiting transitional housing into permanent housing and how it was below the benchmark. And at that time, that benchmark was 75%, but I see in Appendix C, Chart 2, that the benchmark is now at 50%, and I'm not sure why. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure, thank you for the question, Chairperson. Our system-wide benchmarks are set in coordination with our community partners. We have a system performance management work group in which our both our jurisdictional partners, our service providers, we look at the data every year annually, look at our performance, set benchmarks that are reflective of the current challenges, but are also stretch goals for us, recognizing that we want to continue to improve. Transitional housing has been for the past several years below the benchmark. The reality is many people need some kind of subsidy for veterans, for other populations as well, in order to retain that permanent housing. And so we continue to work with those transitional housing programs to improve those outcomes, but that reduction in the benchmark is reflective of the county-wide process that we undertook and reviewed the data and worked with our partners to sort of reset that goal.
So you reset the goal. I guess so that you can reach something that's more attainable.
Correct. Transitional housing has seen challenges and exits to permanent because the individuals do not have additional assistance when they exit, but we continue to work with those programs. The number of transitional housing programs is relatively small. Much of our transitional housing funding and programs over the last, I would say, decade transitioned to rapid rehousing because the success rate and the needs, it better met the needs of the clients. So for transitional housing, it's primarily some veterans funding that's still available for those, as well as some youth programs and some domestic violence programs supporting survivors of domestic violence.
Right. I did see that the veterans exited transitional housing at a higher rate than the system-wide populations. And so I'm guessing that's something that works for those populations and the ones that you just mentioned now. Okay. I'm always concerned when we lower a benchmark, but I can see the reason why. I don't know that we are going to perform, or the system is going to perform any better, whether it's at 75% or 50% is what you're telling me, because the resources aren't there for us. So I guess it's non-consequential. All right, I'm going to move on to my next concern or question, excuse me. And I saw that in February, the households that were becoming homeless was nearly 33%, and I think there's a recognition of that being due to increased outreach, and maybe the recent storms are in the point in time count. And I'm wondering, has that stabilized, or does there continue to be an increase in households of becoming homeless?
When we look at the trends over the past year, we're seeing a slight increase year over year. Within each month, it does fluctuate a little bit. And so, for example, in March, we did see a slightly higher number than February. And so this is something that we're continually watching. We know that as the eviction moratoria ended and other protections, we did see more people showing up requesting assistance for prevention. And so we monitor that trend closely. We're not seeing huge spikes at this point, but are watching that slight increase to see if that stabilizes or goes back down.
Is the funding also something that is impacting, is there less funding for homeless prevention?
There was some additional funding during COVID that is
Right.
no longer available, but there's not less funding for the homelessness prevention system. We're continually trying to expand that.
Oh, is that right? Okay, so then, okay, so you really think this has to do with more of the engagement and people know more about, that we learn more about folks in the point in time count?
The inflow can be reflective of additional resources available or more people, more outreach workers on the street. So it could be that, we had additional shelters open during the storms and people were getting assessed at those shelters. That could be a part of it. It's one reason why we don't draw conclusions on a single month, but really look at this
Right.
trend over time. The year-over-year trend is really important for us to understand, and that reaching that 30% goal at the end of 5 years is what we're focused on. But it could be in a single month evident of additional resources, yes.
But you did say that over the years it has increased. So I'm wondering if people are still not taking advantage of the homeless prevention dollars that are available.
We have seen a decrease since the start of the community plan overall. There's a slight increase from last year to this year. I can say that people are taking advantage of the homelessness prevention system. We see a tremendous amount of people accessing those resources, but those resources aren't meeting the need.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if you're asking these folks, or are we able to ask these folks if they actually accessed or inquired about the homeless prevention dollars?
Can you clarify
So
the question?
the folks who became homeless, I guess I'm trying to figure out, did we ask them at any point, did you try to access homeless prevention dollars in order to prevent being homeless?
Thank you for the question, Chairperson, and for clarifying. We don't ask that of the folks during the assessment when we're assessing folks for the first time when they're homeless. We do have a study underway of our homelessness prevention system, or have as well as our housing problem solving, both of which give us some idea of the impacts of those programs. But no, we don't ask that at assessment.
And so we don't know whether, or do we, I'm guessing we might know or identify female head of households in the assessment, correct?
Correct.
And would you be able to share that? I don't know you have that now, but maybe offline, share some of that information about how many of those households had female head of households.
For the first-time assessed,
Mhm.
yeah, we can include that in the next report, demographic slide for the inflow.
Thank you. All right. Those are my questions. And I'll just for my own sake, say that this is one of the reasons why we don't divert funding in our systems, is that people expect to rely on some of the resources that we have. And of course, we haven't done that, but I know my former place of employment is delving into that. And we see the success rates, and hopefully they won't be as short-sighted, and take a look at what some of these wonderful percentages overall are telling us that our efforts are working. We just have to be patient. So anyways, I appreciate the work and the follow-up, and we'll connect about the female head of household question offline. But those are my questions. I'm hoping that maybe I can get a motion.
Move approval of the recommended action on item number 5, which is to receive the reports as indicated in 5A and 5B. Madam Chair.
Wonderful. I'll second that.
Vice Chairperson Semidion,
Aye.
Chairperson Arenas,
Yes.
motion passes.
Wonderful. So we are going to move on to item 6 on our agenda, which is the report on the Uvas Bridge Replacement Project.
Hi, good morning, Chair, Vice Chair. My name is Harry Freitas. I'm the Director of the Roads and Airports Department. Under a request from Supervisor Chavez to report on this project that we just started. It's down in the Uvas Valley, which is northwest of Morgan Hill, south of the Almaden Valley. It's a bridge replacement project funded by the Federal Highway Administration through the Highway Bridge Replacement Program that's administered by Caltrans. The value of the project is, in construction, is $6.9 million. The request specifically was how we monitor the contractor's performance. The Roads and Airports Department uses traditional management and administration techniques that to develop really a partnership with the contractor on all of our projects for successful delivery. The way, and if you, so I'll just give you a little overview of what we wrote in the report. It all starts with the contracts and the plans and the specifications, which are approved by the Board of Supervisors. And the contract and the plans and specs are the means by which we manage the performance of the contractor. Within that envelope of means and methods to manage the contractor, the traditional things that an owner typically would monitor are schedule, cost, and change. And then finally, quality. Schedule through printed and published schedules on a monthly basis that ensure that the contractor who has they have a specific number of days to perform under the contract, making sure that the contractor makes progress. The cost, we have a very well-defined method of paying the contractor based on quantities. And quantities are monitored on a daily basis. Efforts of work, including materials, labor, and equipment, as they are applied towards the progress of the construction. And then they're paid on a monthly basis. What I was mentioning about change control is extremely important. The Board of Supervisors allocates a contingency to the departments on all of its construction projects. The contingency is used to manage changes in the work that occur during the process, either through unexpected conditions or changes, either caused by owner-initiated changes or things like utility conflicts or typical things that might come up in construction projects. And then quality, finally quality, which we really measure through enforcement of the specifications for the materials that are installed. And then we have a pretty rigorous testing program for the materials that are installed. We have our own materials testing lab, and we also have our own surveyors that ensure that the fixed works are installed in accordance with the plans and specifications. So that's just an overview. I'm glad to answer any questions at this point, or if there's anything else that you'd like me to describe. Thank you.
I will first go to Peggy to see if there's anybody online for public comment.
We have no speakers in chambers, but we do have one virtual speaker.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Our first speaker is Paul Soto. I'm unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin speaking. You will have 2 minutes. Can you accept the unmute? And your mic is open, sir.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Thank you. Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. I'd like to talk about the infrastructure. This is under airplanes, airports and roads. The infrastructure of airports in Santa Clara County in these areas were put in place in order to accommodate the spraying of pesticides in the fields. You see, you had the Reed Hillview Airport. Then you had the one in this particular area. And what these covered is the entire area of the region. from all the way to Salinas, back up this way, because if you look at the trajectory of these airports and their
Paul,
placement.
I hate to interrupt you, but I do want to remind you that this is a report on the Uvas Bridge Replacement Project.
Yeah, it's under the purview of roads and airports, is my understanding, correct?
But it's specific to the Uvas Bridge Replacement Project.
Right, well, I have 2 minutes, and I usually wrap up within that amount of time, so we're given 2 minutes. So I give my summation
And can
at
you
the
talk
end.
to us about the Uvas Bridge Replacement Project, please?
Yeah, as soon as I'm done setting my premise. Can I set my premise first? Am I allowed or no? Because that's what I usually do. I set my premise and then I give my conclusion. And my conclusion is going to have everything to do with this bridge replacement because it's an equity issue. It's an equity issue, but I have to set the premise first. So I respect what you're saying, Supervisor Arenas. However, if I don't set a premise,
Paul,
with
go
regard
ahead
to the
and
history-
set your premise, but please conclude with the Uvas Bridge Replacement.
Of course. I've been doing this for 6 years, Supervisor Arenas. 6 years. I think I know how to set a premise and then support it. Thank you for the instruction, however. Equity. Why is there not an equity analysis done in these areas and how it's going to affect the surrounding area? Because we talk a lot about preservation of the environment. We talk a lot about green protections and about green technologies. But what you're going to use in order to replace this bridge is you're going to use diesels. You're going to be digging into the land, and that's going to be an environmental issue. So it has absolutely everything to do with racial equity. But I was trying to set the premise first, and I couldn't do it. I was interrupted. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to look to my vice chair to see if you have any comments.
I have no comments, Madam Chair. Thank you. I'm happy to move approval of the recommended action, which is to receive the report on item number 6.
And I will second that, but before we call roll on that, I do have a couple of questions. And there's a Swedish Svedal community that this construction is going to impact. What is the outreach plan for those neighboring communities out there? I think there's even a German community up there as well. Yeah, these are very rural communities.
Yeah, I've been working with the Svedal community for a long time, and they're actually in Uvas Canyon, which is at the end of Croy Road. Croy Road comes down, intersects with Uvas Road. We've been working on this project for a long time, and most of the surrounding landowners, we've worked with them on the realignment of the road. And the bridge is going to stay open during the whole period. Oh, I'm sorry, I guess I moved this further away. I do that. The bridge is going to be open during the entire period of time. There won't be any road closures. So we'll leave the existing bridge in service, and then we'll build the, right now, we're starting construction on the bridge, the new bridge, which will be right next to the old bridge. And then once we put the traffic on the new bridge, then we'll demolish the old bridge. So there's really no impact. I mean, the improvements are primarily for the alignment of the road, bicyclists. The bridge is very narrow right now, and it's in very, very poor condition. It's so narrow that we don't stripe the bridge because the road narrows down so much, and there's a lot of bicyclists on this road. And this is going to provide a wide enough bridge to accommodate the bicycles and the vehicles. So,
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
And we are insured to finish by December 2023. This has been, I think, a long-standing or has a long history.
Well, we just started the project. So we, in fact, some of the preliminary clearing of the project is occurring right now. The current schedule indicates completion on time. I can't ensure that that's going to occur because, we really don't know what occurs during the course of construction. But we plan to, absolutely. Our goal
well,
is to complete all our projects on time.
You heard it here.
And under budget, yeah.
Another level of commitment that I love to hear.
Yeah.
on time and under budget.
Well, that's our goal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
I love it, Harry.
Doesn't happen on all of them, though. And I don't, I don't want to, and I'm not trying to,
We're not gonna
make
jinx
fun of it. You never know what occurs in the ground once you start digging. Once you're
Right.
out of the ground, that's how my view on construction management is, once you're out of the ground, you're really in the contractor's world because they control the air. The owner controls the ground. And once you start digging, depends on what you find, hard rock when you're trying to install piles, although, we've done geotechnical analysis of the ground
Right.
before we decided that we'd use a pile foundation. But these things occur. So, and, construction management's all about mitigating those changes as efficiently as possible and then assigning, the risk to the appropriate party who can best manage it. In this case, it's a partnership between the owner and the contractor. That's my view of it, always has been.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that feedback.
Yeah.
Now that we have that level of commitment, I will ask for that vote.
Vice Chairperson Simonian?
Aye.
Chairperson Arenas?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Wonderful. Okay, so since item number 7, the Lehigh Cement Plant is now back on, or on consent, it looks like we are concluding our meeting. Yes, we are. What a surprise. All right. Well, I'd love to adjourn this meeting and ask all of you to have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.